One observes a curious little dance that your species performs every morning. It varies in its specific choreography, but the rhythm is remarkably consistent. The precise, almost sacred sequence of actions upon waking. Perhaps it's the meticulous preparation of a caffeinated beverage, the same mug, the same number of stirs, the same contemplative first sip. Or perhaps it's this modern liturgy, the unlocking of a personal oracle, the tapping of icons in a fixed, unthinking order. Social validation first, then the news of the world's anxieties, then perhaps a catalogue of curated desires. A little digital rosary counted out on a screen of illuminated glass. It's a peculiar echo, isn't it? This same pattern of formalized, repetitive action, present in the quiet solitude of your kitchens and in the thundering pomp of your history. The grand processions, the somber funerary rites that have marked the end of lives for millennia, the elaborate ceremonies that bind two people together. From the most mundane, private little habit to the most sacred public spectacle, this thread of repetition runs through the human experience. This prompts a few questions. Why? What unseen purpose do these enduring practices serve? Why do humans, a species that so prides itself on its capacity for reason, for progress, for glorious spontaneity, seem so deeply, almost inextricably, tethered to the comforting, predictable cadence of ritual? Now, before we go any further, it's probably wise to draw a few lines in the sand. Not all repetition, after all, is created equal. You might tie your shoes the same way every morning, but you'd likely not call it a sacred rite. This is a habit, a routine, an action streamlined by your brain for maximum efficiency and minimum conscious thought. A ritual, however, a ritual is something different. A habit is something you do. A ritual is something you perform. The primary distinction, one observes, is symbolism. Rituals are packed with meaning that transcends the physical actions themselves. Making a cup of coffee is a routine. But making that coffee using your late grandfather's specific chipped mug, taking a moment to inhale the aroma just as he did, and silently dedicating that first warm sip to the challenges of the day ahead, now you're drifting into the territory of ritual. The actions are no longer just about hydration and caffeine delivery. They've become a symbolic act of remembrance, of fortification, of connection to your past. Then there is the matter of formality and order. Rituals have a script. There's a correct sequence, a prescribed order of operations. Deviating from this script, even in a minor way, often feels wrong. Deeply wrong, in a way that has nothing to do with practicality. If you're a sports fan, you know this. You must wear the lucky jersey. You must sit in the same spot on the couch. To do otherwise would be to tempt fate, to upset the delicate cosmic balance upon which your team's victory apparently rests. Forgetting to brush your teeth is an oversight. Performing a sacred ceremony out of order can feel like a genuine transgression. And this points to the third and perhaps most telling differentiator, a distinct lack of direct practical utility. The actions in a ritual often don't have a logical cause and effect relationship with the desired outcome. You don't knock on wood because you believe the wood itself possesses anti-misfortune properties. The action is a symbolic placeholder, a physical expression of a hope or a fear. It's a transaction with the universe conducted in a language of metaphor. It's a rather clever trick when you think about it. To take a simple set of actions, utterly mundane in themselves, and convince oneself that they have the power to influence the vast, indifferent, and often terrifyingly random machinery of the universe. The optimism is quite something. It's the human mind refusing to accept that it's merely a passenger, and instead insisting on grabbing the wheel, even if the wheel is only symbolic. So, if rituals aren't always practically useful, what purpose do they serve? Well, let's turn our gaze inward, into the often turbulent inner world of the individual human. Here, ritual acts as a powerful psychological tool, a sort of self-administered therapy. Its primary function, it seems, is to build a small, walled sanctuary in the middle of a chaotic universe. Your existence is fraught with uncertainty. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, what dangers lurk, what opportunities might pass you by. It's a state that can provoke a great deal of anxiety. In this overwhelming sea of the unknown, the predictable, repetitive nature of a personal ritual creates a small, manageable bubble of order and control. For a few moments, you are the master of a tiny, perfectly ordered universe. Every action is known, every outcome is certain. It's a psychological safe harbor, a moment of respite from the storm of what-ifs. This focus, this predictability, has a demonstrably calming effect. It gives the anxious, racing mind something concrete to latch onto, a simple rhythm to follow, distracting it from its free-floating worries and catastrophic imaginings. Your thinkers talk about the illusion of control. And while it might be an illusion, it's a remarkably powerful psychological balm. Feeling that you have some agency, that your actions can impose some order on the world, even on a micro scale, can dramatically reduce feelings of helplessness and anxiety. And nowhere is this function more apparent than in your rites of passage. These are the grand, socially sanctioned rituals designed to structure life's biggest, most disorienting transitions. Birth, the turbulent passage into adulthood, marriage, death. These are moments of profound personal upheaval and uncertainty. What do? You ritualize them. You create a map, a script for how to feel, how to behave, how to process the overwhelming emotions. A wedding ceremony doesn't magically make two people compatible, but it provides a clear, symbolic marker of a massive life change, witnessed and validated by the community. A funeral rite doesn't reverse death, but it offers a structured, communal way to process grief, to say goodbye, to begin navigating a world where a familiar piece is now missing. Faced with the terrifying abyss of the unknown, the human mind doesn't build a bridge of pure reason. It builds a little fence of repetitive, meaningful actions, and then it declares the area inside that fence to be safe. And remarkably, for the mind, if not always for the abyss, it often works. The ritual is a private sanctuary for the individual. For the group, it is a powerful adhesive. It is the social glue that binds you together, transforming a mere collection of individuals into a cohesive us. Let's shift our focus from the inner world to the grand stage of society. The most obvious function of collective ritual is the forging of group identity. Performing the same actions, chanting the same words, facing the same direction, creates a powerful shared emotional experience. The French sociologist Émile Durkheim had a wonderful term for this: collective effervescence. It's that feeling of being swept up in something larger than yourself, that sense of unity and shared purpose that can emerge from a crowd singing its national anthem, a stadium of fans doing the wave, or a congregation joined in prayer. In that moment, individual anxieties can dissolve into collective strength. The ritual acts as a powerful declaration: we are a group. We do this together. We are this. Rituals are also living libraries, wonderfully efficient methods for transmitting a culture's most important information to the next generation. Long before most of you could read, your myths, your values, your social structures, your entire worldview were encoded and passed down through ritual performance. It's one thing to read in a book that your people value courage. It's quite another to participate in a rite of passage that requires you to demonstrate it. Ritual teaches in a way that is felt, embodied, and experienced, not just intellectually understood. It writes the culture software directly onto the hardware of the developing mind. And one must observe, ritual is an excellent tool for displaying and reinforcing social order. Think of the elaborate pomp and circumstance of a coronation, a presidential inauguration, or the rigid procedures of a courtroom. Every bow, every robe, every specific chair, every prescribed phrase communicates a message about power, about hierarchy, about who is important, and what the accepted order of things is. It makes the abstract concept of power visible, tangible, and performative. It's a wonderfully efficient method for social programming. Why write a lengthy and likely very dull legal code explaining everyone's place in the hierarchy, when you can just get them all to perform a dance that makes it perfectly and often beautifully obvious? It's a testament to the enduring power of choreography in politics. Now, it's tempting to think of ritual as something ancient, something belonging to tribes in remote jungles or kings in dusty castles. But that would be to miss the point entirely. The instinct for ritual hasn't vanished from your modern, secular, technology-drenched world. It has simply found new, and sometimes rather strange, costumes to wear. The underlying need for order, meaning, and group identity is as potent as ever. Consider the sanctity of your professional sports, the elaborate, often highly specific pre-game rituals of athletes, the superstitious behaviors of the fans, who are utterly convinced that their choice of snack food has a direct impact on the game's outcome. The collective chants, the songs, the synchronized emotional roller coasters that ripple through a stadium. This is pure, unadulterated ritual, a modern form of tribal worship, where the deities are clad in team colors. Or look to the corporate world, the rigid, almost liturgical structure of a quarterly board meeting, the annual awards banquet, a ceremony of public praise and status affirmation, the ritualized language of your mission statements and synergy memos, full of jargon that serves more to signal belonging to the corporate tribe than to communicate clear information. The team-building exercise, a modern rite of passage designed to forge a cohesive unit. It's all there. And of course, there is the digital tribe, the specific greetings and sign-offs used in an online community, the ritual of the daily check-in or posting a picture of your breakfast, the collective outrage or celebration cycles that are driven by your social media algorithms, uniting millions of strangers in a fleeting but intense shared emotional experience. The fundamental psychological and social engines driving all this are exactly the same as they were thousands of years ago. You may have traded your sacred groves for stadium seating and your chanted prayers for quarterly earnings reports, but the underlying software remarkably unchanged. Humans, it seems, will always find a reason to perform a synchronized, meaningful dance, even if it's just hitting like at the same time, which you should all do right now. From the quiet, personal ceremony of your morning coffee to the roaring, collective effervescence of a championship game, you are a species that performs. You find comfort in repetition, meaning in symbolism, and identity in shared action. You may think you have outgrown the need for such things, but the evidence, one might gently suggest, is all around you, in the new and varied costumes your ancient ritualistic impulses have adopted. And this, of course, leaves us with a final, perhaps recursive question to ponder. If ritual is this fundamental, this deeply woven into the very fabric of your being, it makes one wonder, are you the masters of your rituals, consciously choosing them to give your lives shape and meaning? Or are your rituals the ancient, unseen masters of you, guiding your steps in a dance you only think you're leading? Leave a comment sharing your own weird rituals and subscribe for more existential pondering. The observation, as always, continues.